The S25 Edge has ruined every other phone for me. No other phone makes sense anymore. Here is my full review of the Galaxy S25 Edge. Let's go. Normally, I will wait a few months before I review a smartphone. You've got to live day to day with something to truly appreciate and understand the nuances, the feels, the software, and the performance before you can pass judgment, because a lot of people will use a phone for 3+ years. So doing a review after 2 weeks doesn't make much sense, except I've got a lot to say in the 2 weeks I've spent with this phone, even though there's not really a lot to talk about. This phone has ruined every other phone for me, and that defies what you see on the spec sheet, because if you were to look at the spec sheet of this and a few things stand out, no one should consider this as a purchase. There are some reasons why this phone has ruined other phones for me, but there's one big one, I guess the main one, and that's the form of it. 163 grams for a phone with this screen size doesn't make sense. 5.8 millimeters in thickness with the Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy, a large vapor chamber, 12GB of RAM, a 200 megapixel main camera that's the same as the S25 Ultra's main camera, plus a secondary camera to go along with it. Doesn't make sense. Yet it's all here, inside this package. I have already done a comparison between the Edge and the Ultra in another video, so this is not going to descend into another comparison because I've already done it. But when you use the Edge for extended periods of time, and I'm talking pretty much the entire day, and then you maybe pick up the Ultra to use it for something, you honestly feel like you're picking up a brick. I kind of liken it to when you train with like hand weights at the beginning of like a fitness journey, and then you go to a heavier weight, like within the same set. You feel like you're picking up a car. Not gonna lie, I'm genuinely struggling. I haven't done weights training in forever. Whereas you've usually been picking up a bike. It's just such a drastic difference in weight and feel that it does feel heavy and clunky to sort of use after that. That extra thickness, that extra weight, that extra size. It's obviously standard because that's what smartphones have been for a while now, but it now also feels archaic once you've held this. The Edge doesn't cramp your hand, it doesn't feel cumbersome to use, but it still gives you the flagship performance and quality that you would expect out of a 2025 smartphone. It still has Samsung DeX, it still has Galaxy AI, and it still runs the full fat version of One UI 7 with every feature you can think of. So you're not missing out on any of those features that Samsung give you. A lot of the rhetoric around the Edge is that it's a mid-range phone. And the reason why they're saying that is for two things on a spec sheet: the cameras and the battery. The cameras on paper, I get. As someone especially who's used an Ultra for a very long time, seeing two less cameras kind of raises concern because there's a similar price bracket to the Ultra and you're getting less flexibility out of it. But isolating the Edge on its own, these are flagship hardware cameras. The main camera, that 200 megapixel, is the same HP2 sensor that's on the S25 Ultra. Same sensor size, same sensor technology. It's identical. All they've done is trim the module that carries that sensor down to fit it into this slimmer package. And with that same camera, you get the same results as what the Ultra gets. The same dynamic range, the same quick shooting, the same low light performance. It's all the same as the Ultra. And because it's a 200 megapixel, the physical zoom range carries it between 1 and at least to 5 times, you'll get decent shots out of it. It won't give you that natural sort of bokeh that the 5 times camera on the Ultra gives you. But again, if you're not looking at the two side by side, this will be a really good option for that zoom range. Anything beyond 5 to 10 degrades a little bit, but it's still better than other cameras at 10 times zoom that actually even have telephotos. Because that 200 megapixel camera is cropping into that middle section, it does a really stellar job. And a lot of people are criticizing the decision to put the ultra wide and not another telephoto. Whereas I think that because it's got a 200 megapixel main camera, it doesn't need that extra telephoto. And the flexibility of having the ultra wide means you're getting the opportunity to capture really stellar landscapes and beautiful sort of nature shots, which you wouldn't be able to get with a telephoto camera. And this ultra wide is physically the same as what's on the Ultra from last year. So it's got dual pixel autofocus, which gives it macro capabilities. So you can get in close to subjects and capture high detail with that ultra wide camera. When you switch over to video, and I guess video is becoming very important, it does kind of lose a little bit, but not a lot. because ultimately you're probably going to be shooting video between that 1 and 3 and maybe 5 times zoom range. And for that, it's going to be great. You're going to be capturing a lot of really good, high quality footage because it's got the processing that the Ultra has. But when you go sort of beyond 5 times, because it struggles and doesn't have the same, I guess, processing as what photos can have, it sort of degrades that little bit as you sort of zoom in. But again, it's not a comparison. So if you're on your own with this camera, you probably won't be thinking about it too much. You maybe just avoid using it. I mean, avoid using the zoom, not the camera in total. So the output is great and it will serve you, and it has served me perfectly fine. And it also has all of Samsung's camera modes. All of the same features that the Ultra can do, this can do as well. You do lack a couple of things within certain features though, like the ability to zoom longer in single take, and dual recording doesn't have those extra options as well because of the fact that it just doesn't have the hardware. But the form factor, especially for video, comes back into play with camera, because when you do a lot of video with your phone, you're holding it like this. And a heavy phone like the Ultra is heavy. It just will make your hand feel tired. You'll either have to swap hands to make it feel a little bit more comfortable. Whereas with the Edge, 163 grams and this thin, you're not going to get that hand fatigue of holding the camera for long periods of time. You will feel comfortable and it will feel easy to shoot with. If you compare the overall sort of camera picture from the Edge to the Ultra, obviously hardware-wise, the Ultra comes out on top. But if camera isn't a priority for you for a smartphone, you just want a good camera, then these are good cameras. The output will be excellent. And there's some added advantages like the form factor, which you won't get out of the Ultra. And the other point was the battery. I get this one too, because you look on the spec sheet, 3,900 milliamp hours, that doesn't seem enough. And I had the exact same reaction every single one of you have probably had when you see that number. This is not going to last long. But at the same time, when you start using it, it doesn't matter. Honestly, it's enough. Samsung said all-day battery life in their testing, and that is exactly what they have delivered. Because of the nature of this form factor, I haven't been able to put this phone down. Once I pick it up, I'm using it. And I very rarely will swap it out for the plethora of other phones I have. And even if I do, I immediately put it down because this just feels better in my hand. As a consequence of that, it means I've used the battery a lot more. What I have noticed in that usage is that the screen on time, which everyone seems to think is the only metric that matters, ranges anywhere from 4 to 7 hours across sort of the lifespan of 100% of the battery. And I'll easily make it through an entire day, a day being from the moment you pick it up in the morning to when you go to bed at night, without needing to charge it. Now, you probably might say, well, I get 10 hours of screen on time on my phone. Excellent. That is 100% great for you. And if that's what you get, don't buy this phone. But when you think about an average person's phone usage, a day at the office where they're sitting down, focused on their computer screen, working, not picking up their phone much. Where they're out on the road, the phone's either going to be docked, plugged into Android Auto, or sitting in their pocket. Again, not getting a lot of use. Or for myself, my entire weekend is coaching my son's football team, whether that be games on a Saturday or Sunday, and the phone is in my pocket. And I very rarely look at it because I'm focused on the game that I'm coaching. And when it's in there, the phone is not going to kill itself. It is going to just sip away at power and stay efficient. And I've noticed it doing that. Today, the day I'm filming, I didn't charge the phone overnight. And the phone barely took any power away from the battery as the night sort of went on, as you can see from these screenshots I'm putting up. Real fun fact about these screenshots is that I actually had them, and then it was on the review phone that Samsung gave me, and I've now had to box it up to send back. So those screenshots are gone. It got until 10:30 a.m. this morning at the library when I plugged it in, and that was almost a day and a half of usage, and there was still 13% left. I'm not saying it's perfect. Obviously, hardware will play a factor. It's limited in that sense. 3,900 milliamp hours is not the gold standard. But for the majority of smartphone users who use their phone like a normal person, this will carry you through the entire day. And the added benefit that you get is you get a form factor that's fun to use and lightweight to hold. And with that, This is why it's ruined other phones for me. And if you aren't ready to live with that reality and have regular standard slab phones get ruined, then don't jump in with this. Leave this on the shelf and continue the normal slab usage because once you start using this, it damages your brain and you almost can't go back. This was a review loan unit from Samsung. They have no input into the review. They never do. Anyone who says otherwise is wrong. But I loved it so much that I went and bought my own. And I got the black color because black is slimming, so it makes it look even slimmer again. So I'm going to be with this phone forever now because it's mine. I couldn't imagine a world that I live in without this phone in my pocket, at least until the next one. If you want to see how this compares to the Ultra, I've already done it. I've done a full video where I compare the speakers, the display, the form factor, the cameras, the performance. It's all been done. You can check it out up here. If you're interested in an Edge and you want to find out more about it, use the link in the description to sort of check it out for yourself. Hit subscribe if you're into this sort of Samsung content and you want to know more about the whole Samsung ecosystem and getting the most out of your phone. And if you want to join as a member, you can do that too, and you'll get early access to these videos before anyone else. Otherwise, see you guys in the next one. Yoo!